The SNB has said enough is enough and has taken decisive action to weaken the Swiss franc. The central bank sets a floor of 120 for the euro Swissie, and in a strongly worded statement they said they will buy foreign currency in unlimited quantities to defend this level. And I'm joined by Chris Walker from one of the biggest names in Swiss banking, UBS. Chris, will the SNB defend this level no matter what?
First and foremost, they've set their intentions very clear. They have said that they will defend the level at all costs. Now, I think the markets will certainly try to test these levels. Euro Swiss is still trading on external factors largely, so in that sense, it can be pushed back below 120. But given they are so strong in their rhetoric, I wouldn't want to be short Euro Swiss from these kind of levels, and I think they will be successful, at least in the short term.
The SNB has now provided traders with quite a useful support level, haven't they? And do you expect traders and investors to keep testing this level and the determination of the Swiss National Bank?
Yeah, I mean, if we do get big risk-averse flows and again Euro Swiss gets a lot of downside pressure, then we will see the SNB in at these levels. I mean, it's a floor, it's not a peg, so the upside potential is largely limitless. It's obviously the downside they're worried about. So I think if we do see a lot of risk-averse flows, then we will see the SNB intervening and doing whatever they can. They also said they will do as many steps as possible, whether this will be charging for deposits or other measures. But at the moment, they've said they will be intervening at levels below 120 if the market tries to test them. And it's just a question of how strong they will be in terms of whether it can survive at this level.
Is it too early to say how much the franc will actually weaken?
It's hard to say because we haven't really sort of seen how hard the markets will test. I mean, in the context of what's going on globally, it will be tough because it's essentially currency wars at the moment. We have the prospect of perhaps dollar debasement for further easing. We have the Bank of Japan intervening, and we have various verbal interventions from other from other policymakers. So in that sense, there will be a lot of pressure on Euro Swiss, but given that the rhetoric is so strong, then there is a chance that they will be successful.
And what are the potential dangers for the SNB and Switzerland by taking this firm action?
Well, there's quite a few dangers, namely in a sort of global sense. Moving into this sort of currency war is very dangerous in itself, and it does increase the prospect of having some kind of policy response from other central banks. I mean, on the domestic sense, it is good for Swiss exporters, obviously, who have been, even at 120, they've been struggling, and of course, therefore, the corporate sector and equity sector. But in terms of the longer-term picture, then it is likely to result in inflationary pressures. I mean, at the moment, the current risk is for deflation, and that is the main reason why they are acting it as a monetary policy tool. But in the longer term, there is a risk of increased inflation, and then therefore that would be negative for Swiss bond holdings. But this is very much a longer-term view, and really at this stage, the SNB are just sort of setting their policy out and seeing if the markets will test them.
Okay, thank you for your time, Chris. We'll keep monitoring the situation with the Swiss franc here on Dukas Copy TV. But for now, goodbye.